This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Good evening, I'm Rebecca Dupree. The idea of having a convention centre in Queenstown has been controversial in recent years. However, there are now firm plans for a $40 million meeting facility in Frankton. Reporter Mina Amso sat down with the man behind the project. Tell us about the beautiful design that you've got.
So it's a Mason & Wales Architects design, obviously based originally on having to work functionally, but we've made sure that the form of the building is attractive and fits the environment. If you look at the front of the building, it's jagged panels, and obviously those jagged panels are reminiscent of the jagged Remarkables mountain.
And tell us now about the start and finish of the building.
Well, we have now got resource consent, which is great news, but we are now progressing, working with various parties in terms of funding and construction, and so we expect to get through that process in 2017, hopefully, so we can start construction in 2017 with a view to it being open by late 2018.
Maybe clarify for me the costs and sort of who's paying for this?
Well, the stage one of the conference centre we expect to cost, excluding the land, around about 30 million. Stage two is probably about another 10 million. And we're obviously one of the key people underwriting that here at Remarkables Park Limited. But we are fairly confident that we'll get contributions from other parties who are interested to provide services, hotels, and as we say, we are keen to try and persuade the government that that is a worthy facility for them to make a contribution to.
What's this convention centre is going to bring to Queenstown?
We don't have a large-scale conference facility here. We know that whenever people hold conferences here, that they usually get at least a 50% increased turnout from anywhere else. Probably not just because they want to go to the conference, but because they want to have the excuse to come to Queenstown.
You know, the council had plans to have a convention centre in the middle of Queenstown. Where does that leave the council?
Actually on the outskirts of the downtown, quite high on a hill, in not a particularly easy place for people to walk to and from. So I'm not entirely surprised at that proposal, which was really very expensive and would have involved a lot of ratepayer money being invested.
We do know that you own about 100 hectares of land. And I believe this project is part of the 100 hectares of land?
This project is part of the Remarkables Park zone development.
Now the question is, are you considering using the rest or part of the remaining land space for residential space, given the fact that we are in such high need?
So there's room here for town centre, hotels, sports and recreation, the new high school, other education facilities, existing low density housing that's already been put in here, more medium density housing, some of which has just started, more that's coming in, and a lot more high density residential as well.
Fantastic. Well, looking forward to actually going in person and having a look.
Good. We look forward to taking you there.
A Balclutha woman is grateful her 2 cats and turtle are still alive after the house she was living in caught fire. Tossie Liebenberg says she was on her way back to Balclutha from Milton when her daughter told her about the fire at home. Residents gathered to watch as smoke streamed from the roof of the 2-storey brick house on Bar Street. 2 fire appliances from the Balclutha Volunteer Fire Brigade attended the blaze. There's been a rash of car accidents around the south today, including a fatal crash near Milton. The wet weather appears to have caught several drivers unawares, and emergency services have been kept busy. In Dunedin, the driver of this car appears to have lost control and collided with a pole. Police were in attendance at a fatal crash on the Milton Highway mid-morning. 1 person died and another was airlifted to hospital with critical injuries. State Highway 1 was down to 1 lane just north of Patterson Road, while the serious crash unit attended the scene. A Dunedin man has received an award for volunteer work. John Gourlay was presented with the Dunedin Public Library citation for his long and outstanding contribution to the library at a Christmas function held today. Gourlay has been serving at the library since 2002, assisting primarily with magazine collections. The spokesperson said his commitment had been extraordinary. He was presented with the award by Dunedin City Councillor Aaron Hawkins. Dunedin became a bit international this week thanks to a dash of Polish flavour. The ambassador and Polish consul visited Dunedin Library to see a 238-year-old book in the Heritage Collection. And while he was here, he took in the beauty of a 100-year-old church.
There's a side to Dunedin that's rarely seen, its Polish side. I'm Roselle LeBone, here outside the Mary Queen of Peace Church, which was built over 100 years ago right here in Dunedin by Polish settlers. It's just one stop on the itinerary of the Polish ambassador who's visiting the city this week. The ambassador, along with his wife Agnieszka and his daughter Anastasia, arrived at the city library yesterday to visit with some very old books. These ones have a special significance, as Polish author John Reinhold Forster was the naturalist on Captain James Cook's second Pacific voyage.
They recorded 120 plants here in this country, in Dusky Sound and in Charlotte, also 38 bird species, and the son, so George, made very beautiful drawings, so we can find these drawings in different publications.
Forster published the book, Observations Made During a Voyage Around the World, upon returning from this trip. The ambassador also presented to the library a new book on Forster written by Auckland-based Polish author Dr. Joanna Branley. Like Dunedin, Poland is home to a UNESCO City of Literature, Krakow, and the first Polish settlers came to Otago and Southland from the Kościerzyce region in the 1870s. Are the Poles good travellers? Naturally, are they good navigators?
Oh yes, they are very good travelers, and now if you travel across the world you can find our compatriots everywhere.
Gniewczkowski's visit is about more than books. He shared his thoughts on Poland's relationship with New Zealand and the country's role in world politics.
Usually we say that we are like-minded nations, and on the international stage we share the same values, like democracy and international law, and we think that we are very good partners.
There were other stops on the ambassadorial trail, including a visit to this beautiful church in Broad Bay.
Monastery in Poland, the original icon have been restored by art restorers, so you don't really see those scars. You only see those two scars on her face, which she was cut by the sword, by the Tatar.
The stained glass panel protectors were paid for in part by Polish Heritage of Otago and Southland Charitable Trust. Roselle LeBone, The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today, volunteers are celebrated, and we take a look at the stories making headlines in January.
My Els and I just love coming to Alex Campbell's. That's my favourite shop. I always get good value here, and good boys really deserve good brands and good quality. Look at these tees. Local beaches on some of them too. This is only for the good boys, the old boys, the young boys. What about some bright shorts for the boys? Excellent.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Bring some more joy into your world by adopting one of our adult animals at SPCA Otago. Call now on 473 8252. Please adopt a pet now, they will love you forever.
Emu oil has been used for centuries to support joint mobility and tired muscles. Also helpful for supporting healthy skin. Available as oil or in capsules. Go to www.silverhorn.co.nz to order emu oil today.
We're at 25 Moray Place at Dog with Tails Cafe and Bar. So we take coffee very seriously. We do what's called contract roasting, so we're creating our own roasting profile and then doing our own blends. We're really focusing on the craft of what we're doing. You know, we're going back, instead of going on mass-produced sort of cheap things, we're taking the time to really craft what we're making. Make it so anyone can come here and have a feed and be able to get something they're able to eat or that they want to eat as well. You're kind of getting a taste of cafes from all around the world when you come here.
Southern Television takes pride in providing a wide range of programming. If you have concerns about our programming or feel that standards have been breached, please write to the address on screen within 20 working days of airing. Visit Broadcast Standards Authority website for more information on the complaints process.
Yes, Sonny Chin.
Neck, shoulder, back, sciatica, pain specialists. Innovative tools specifically designed to contour your grooves of depletion and excess muscle buildup.
Sonny Chin, it works.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489 2274.
Put your seatbelts on for this one and rev it up. Thursday night is Motorsport Night. Proudly brought to you by multi-award-winning Garador.
Welcome back. The International Day of the Volunteer was celebrated globally this week. Many people gift their time to a host of organisations, and some will have little knowledge just how valuable their contribution is. The amount of volunteer hours recorded at the last census was down significantly, but the contribution to the country is still measured in the billions.
$3.5 billion. That's what Statistics New Zealand says volunteer workers financially contributed to the country at the last census. The manager of Volunteering Otago, Graham Cobson, says it's important to recognise the many people who freely give their time.
Really that's to acknowledge and recognise the contributions that volunteers are making to our communities, which is particularly relevant at this time given the earthquakes we've had. And just the volunteer response has been incredible to lessen the suffering and help the recovery of those affected.
The organisation has offices throughout the region, with dedicated staff in Alexandra and Wanaka. He says while there are everyday volunteers who help in all facets of community life, there are many who will go to the scene of natural disasters just to do what they can.
Yeah, I think this is something that New Zealanders can be very proud of, is the way that individuals, organisations and just the whole communities just up and pitch in and offer their services to help each other. And it really is fantastic. And as we've seen, with both Kaikoura and Christchurch, the response from people has been absolutely overwhelming.
There are many volunteer-driven organisations within Otago Community House. One of the most public is Otago Access Radio, whose manager, Leslie Paris, says they'd simply not be able to function without volunteers.
Volunteering for Otago Access Radio is our lifeblood, really. We wouldn't exist without volunteer broadcasters and the fabulous volunteers that help fundraise for us. And our governance board, the Hills Radio Trust, they're all volunteers. So there's only 4 paid staff here, and there's over 200 volunteers that make this the amazing radio station that it is.
Paris says 2,400 hours of programs are made in 11 different languages by 200 plus volunteers, amounting to more than 80 locally made shows. Volunteering New Zealand's theme for this year's International Day of the Volunteer is Together We Can. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
After the break on The South Today, we take a look at the stories making headlines around Dunedin in January, and we'll check out weather for Thursday.
Emu oil has been used for centuries to support joint mobility and tired muscles. Also helpful for supporting healthy skin. Available as oil or in capsules. Go to www.silverhorn.co.nz to order emu oil today.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Don't suffer in silence. Call Sunny Chin, Chi Master Body Technician, for structural, muscular, emotional bodywork. Phone 03 4250 606 for all your pain relief.
Bring some more joy into your world by adopting one of our adult animals at SPCA Otago. Call now on 473 8252. Please adopt a pet now, they will love you forever.
We're a 25 Moray Place, Dog with Tails Cafe and Bar. So we take coffee very seriously. We do what's called contract roasting, so we're creating our own roasting profile and then doing our own blends. We're really focused on the craft of what we're doing. You know, we're going back, instead of going on mass-produced sort of cheap things, we're taking the time to really craft what we're making. Make it so anyone can come here and have a feed and be able to get something they're able to eat or that they want to eat as well. You're kind of getting a taste of cafes from all around the world when you come here.
My Els and I just love coming to Alex Campbell's. That's my favourite shop. I always get good value here, and good boys really deserve good brands and good quality. Look at these tees. Local beaches on some of them too. This is only for the good boys, the old boys, the young boys. What about some bright shorts for the boys? Excellent.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Put your seatbelts on for this one and rev it up. Thursday night is Motorsport Night. Proudly brought to you by multi-award winning Garador.
Welcome back. Well, tonight we begin a look back at the stories making news over the last 12 months. We get things underway with January, which had an outdoors theme, including bowls and surf lifesaving. Here's Daryl Baser.
Full swing, the lawn bowls season saw competitors from around the region converging on the city, particularly at the West Harbour 1500 competition, where it was all on for old and young.
It has become my main sport now, yeah. I've got it getting a wee bit better at it, and you enjoy it more as you get better and play a bit more competitively, and it's good fun. And when it's nice and sunny, today it's not the best, but normally it's a brilliant game to play.
Being the youngest on the green, Angus got plenty of free advice. As sometimes happens in a hot Otago summer, there were water shortages, prompting concern for the city's water supply from the Dunedin City Council.
In Wakawaiti and Karitani, we're having to run the treatment plant for 22 or 23 hours a day to keep up with supply, which is a lot more than normal. That increased the risks of things breaking, and on some days we're draining water from the reservoir faster than we're able to fill it.
At the time, the hot, dry summer was attributed to the familiar El Nino weather patterns. In preparation for the annual Dunedin to Brighton Veteran Car Rally, a group of magnificent people spent many hours restoring a splendid machine, which was in the form of a 1916 Dennis fire engine, which they say was a labour of love to restore.
We got it in pieces, complete and utter mess, and we've slowly worked on it and rebuilt the motor and got it to this stage, and it's now up and running, but the only trouble we're having is getting it started.
With the heat of summer, many Dunedin residents and visitors took to the city's beaches. However, surf lifesavers at St Clair were pleased with a quieter holiday period.
So far the conditions have been pretty good. Surf's been quite challenging, but the rescues been happening and the lifeguards have been out there and been proactive with the members of the public.
With many people on the beaches, St Clair's erosion issues were to the fore, with more rocks than sand prominent in many areas. The Taieri A&P show was one of the last events of the first month of the year, bringing townies to the country for a sniff of country life. And we'll have a look back at the month of February tomorrow. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on The South Today. The driving force behind a proposed convention centre in Queenstown says the multi-million-dollar project will be an asset to the area. Fire, police and ambulance personnel have been kept busy around the south with a fatal accident near Milton and several other vehicle crashes on wet roads. And the Polish ambassador has commemorated the 245th anniversary of James Cook's naturalist John Forster arriving at Dusky Sound. Well, it's time now to find out what's going to be inside tomorrow's Otago Daily Times, and we're joined by Deputy Editor Craig Page. Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, we've got some good positive news for Dunedin in tomorrow's paper. We've got to follow on from this morning's story about the ACC possibly setting up a larger office hub in the city. Confirmation today that they're looking at the Frederick Street car park just opposite the hospital there to build a multi-storey building development for the city. They'd look to set themselves up there, also get in some health and tertiary providers. The DCC's given them a 12-month grace period really to investigate the feasibility of such a building, and then we'll go from there. People will be surprised to know that ACC's got about 430 staff working in Dunedin at the moment across 3 sites. They're looking to get them into one office space if they can. There's also going to be some car parking in there as well, so that won't be a problem if they're using the existing car parks.
And a loss of existing car parks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so there'll be more to come in this story because that area has been mentioned as a possibility for a new hospital as well. So there'll be some heated discussions over that, no doubt. We've got a nice story about Tony Cummings, a Dunedin businessman who's better known as Barbecue Bill around town with his catering service he runs with his wife. He's named International Volunteer of the Year at some international sailing awards in Sweden at the weekend.
Wow.
That's for his work with the 2 Spirit of Adventure tall ships which operate around the city. He was also involved in a 59-day sailing with some disabled people going from Bermuda to Southampton, so it was on the back of that as well. He's pretty chuffed with himself, as you can imagine. And yeah, he got involved with Spirit of Adventure back in the 1990s, took a return ship to Stewart Island and has been hooked ever since, so been involved, so it's a nice reward for him. And if you're wanting to book a hotel or a restaurant around the city over the next few days, you might be out of luck. Graduation season's in full swing. We've got 2 Polytech graduations on Friday, 2 university on Saturday, so more than 2,500 students graduating, and of course they bring their parents and friends into the city, and it's a good economic boom for Dunedin.
Luckily I live here already, Craig, so I don't have to book a hotel.
You don't have to be sold.
That's all in tomorrow's ODT plus more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's time now for tomorrow's weather.
This weather update proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorn's Manuka Honey.
Here is today's situation. A ridge of high pressure is spreading over Otago now. It will move away tomorrow as a northwesterly flow begins to increase. It's going to bring some lovely weather to some of the southern towns. Balclutha, the Catlins Gore and Lumsden are all in for a fine day with a high of 16. In the central towns, some high cloud for Alexandra and Queenstown, a fine day for Te Anau, but a high cloud for Wanaka with a high of 16 degrees. And to the towns in the northern reaches, becoming fine with afternoon nor'easters for Oamaru, 15 degrees there. Some high cloud about for Omarama and Twizel, both on 16, and some cloud with southerlies dying out for Timaru, 15 degrees. And Dunedin tonight, a little bit of low cloud and sou'westers with a low of 7. Tomorrow becoming fine and sunny with nor'easters developing, 15 degrees. And on Friday, breezy north to northeast winds with high cloud and a high of 19. And in Invercargill tonight, becoming fine with a low of 4. Tomorrow, mostly fine with northerlies developing, a high of 17. And on Friday, nor'westers freshening, high cloud increasing, and some rain at night, a high of 19. And that is news from around the south today. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.